Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Shade in
Shade
the
in the
City.
City.
I'm your girl, Treese.
It's Nels.
And today we are getting into our review of episode 11, season 6.
11.
Yeah, of Ready to Love. So if you have not already, please make sure that you hit that like button.
And that subscribe button.
And y'all, I'm ready to get into it. I'm not going to waste no time. Thank you for joining us. And
Because she cheated.
I skipped ahead in the episode, so Nels a little upset with me because I spoiled it a little bit for her. But anyway, y'all, let's get into it. And let's check up on these connections and let's get shady. Tommy meets with the ladies in the ladies' lounge. He asks how they went after the getaway. Now, Shareese, she had Sampson over at her spa to get a facial. I thought it was funny that she didn't divulge more information about what happened. She basically just said that, she was trying to relax him and was trying to open and wants him to open up more because clearly it didn't work.
Now, what do you think she should have divulged?
I felt like she should have been like, oh, he had a whole bitch fit.
I think she's still trying to connect with him. That's why. She's still trying to figure out if there's something there. So she doesn't want to talk bad about him. And
it's giving, I'm trying to make it to the end of the show. I really want to know what they get for winning because that's what this season is giving. I just, outside of maybe Brandy
winning.
Yeah. We're like getting to the end, not even winning. Because really the whole point is to find love. And they say, even if you don't make it to the end, if you found love, then you really won. But I wonder what making to the end gets you, because this need and drive to do it when there's clearly, I mean, being ready to love doesn't ready to accept anything, but okay. So Kayla said that she had a date with Randall and says that she feels he's overwhelmed. And then Nephew Tommy jumps to Jay and was like, well, how do you feel about it? And Jay was super shady. It wasn't even low-key shade. It was shade. The whole palm leaf.
It was if she was near us, she would get the palm leaf.
Jay says that they're fine. And, sometimes it takes work and you have to be willing to put it in. She doesn't mind getting her hands dirty, though. And then, of course, Kayla is like rolling her eyes because, Kayla's like, really, bitch? Really? You could have just said at Kayla. You know what I'm saying?
If that's put a name on that bitch.
Okay. Now, Nephew Tommy tells them that he wants them to call on a family member to weigh in on their connections. And Brandy is nervous because she has never introduced anyone to her dad ever. And yeah, so we're about to see how it goes, and we're about to meet the family.
So Brandy invited Mike over to meet her parents, Ronald and Cynthia. Mike comes in, told him some gifts. Okay, he brings Brandy some flowers, Ronald a Pistons hat, and I'm mad Cynthia ain't opened her gift because I wanted to know what the hell it was because he seemed excited to give it to her. So Daddy Ronald lets Mike know that he's heard some great things about him, all great things. Cynthia asks what he likes about B. He says her sense of humor. He was like, it was a vibe from the first time we met. She was like, came up to him, let me get to know you.
And yes, she did.
He says the only thing that really bothers him is the fact she's a flight attendant. And he doesn't feel real good about it. He's gonna be completely honest because he don't want to sleep alone. And he says, he'll need some like advance notice on like, I guess when she got to fly out or whatever. Brandy says in the confessional, she was like, she don't care. She gonna do whatever it takes. Even if she got to fly him in for every layover she's on. She like, Daddy gonna be beside me.
She did. But she already told him that, and that's why she's like, why does he keep saying this? Because I told him I would alter my schedule.
Well, probably because he don't want to be flying all over the damn world.
Well, he has
every time she got to work. Huh?
I don't know the ages of his 3 kids, but he has 3 kids. He probably can't. They're probably still.
He has 3 kids. He has to work.
Right.
I mean, just because you're willing to do it doesn't mean that he's able to do it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why I'm sure that's why it's still a concern. So, Daddy Ronald is like, well, you know, her job is real strict. You know, they always doing all types of testing things. And he want to know if he do drugs.
You ain't smoking that reefer, are you?
Them tweeds and things.
Right.
And of course, this catches Mike off guard. You know, Trees thought that he meant COVID. COVID test.
I was like, oh yeah, she got to take
that actually made sense. That actually made sense. I could see if Mike was like, oh, you know, I'm COVID free. That actually would have made sense. But you know, Mike does mention a concern for him is that, you know, she's never been in a serious relationship. Her mom says no, she's never been, you know, in a steady, ongoing relationship. He'll be the first. He said he's trying to be. So Cynthia asks how he feels about having children. He says, you know, actually, when I first met Brandy, she asked me how many children I had. He said, I got 3. And she wants 2. He said, well, I guess we're going to have 5.
They eating this up. They loving all the answers.
Period.
I'm not
Let
even
me
gonna
ask you something.
I was eating it up. I was over here like, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Miss Mike is my strongest connection. Has he talked to you about having children with you?
Oh, you talking about Kayla.
So Mike feels like, you know, he's leaving and he don't want the parents over. And I'm with you, Mike. I believe you did too.
I do believe he did.
Daddy Ronald feels like, you know, he's saying all the right things. But is he saying too much of the right things?
Right.
And you know what? She's like, you know what? I understand how you feel because you're my daddy. All right. I know you want to be over.
But we just gonna have to let it play out.
She's like, yeah, she's like, you're gonna have to let it play out. So her parents was like, you know what? I'm gonna ride with you. I'm sticking beside you. And then the confessional, she says that he better not be out here saying this to no other chicks because he gonna get
right.
cut off. Period.
I wish it would.
So Kadian is going to have Swayze meet with her godmother, Miss Megan, and she's actually the mother of a guy that Kadian used to date. Weird. It's like this girl don't know how not to be messy. I mean, it's weird. I wonder if Swayze went in knowing this. Probably not.
You know what it gives me? It gives me that she likes drama. I think that they have fun together. Don't get me wrong, their dynamic is very cute, and I think that there's something there, but I also think that it could be very toxic when they're not lovey-dovey, when they're not, but you know how some people love that. They love to hate just so they can love to love, like that. That's what they kind of give me.
And some people are really attracted to that toxicity. Yeah.
Like that for some reason they give me that like when they're really high, when they're high, but when they low, they low.
So Kadian basically, you know, she lets her know that she feels like everything is going well, but feels like there's something missing because when he's asked serious questions, she gets no answer and says they both have strong personalities and just wants to figure out, you know, how to get past their red flags. So Swayze walks in super nervous, you know, especially after, you know, the meetup with the other friend. He's hoping it don't go like this. What was it?
King.
You know what? I thought that's what it was, but then I didn't want to say that because it just sounds like I shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah.
He's hoping that after speaking with the godmother, you know, he has a better understanding of Kadian and how to better communicate with her as well. Good luck, sir. Miss Megan asked him how old he is. He says he's 33. She's like, oh, okay, well, we see a cougar that slipped up in there.
So that made me wonder, how old is Kadian?
Well, we call her Mother May I.
But I thought when she said 30, when she was like cougar, I was like, I thought maybe she was like 38 or 30. And I call her mother May I because of her mannerisms, not because I knew her age.
I would think, I mean, maybe that's not cougar.
Well, that's what I'm.
There's a huge difference from a 30 young, like a 30 something, like 32, 33-year-old man versus an almost 40-year-old woman. Okay. I mean, we're not just talking about age here. We're talking about mentally as well. So
the mental.
I mean, it's a little cougarish, little cougarish. So he explains that he's American. His granddad is Jamaican. And Ms. Megan says, you know, cultures can either bring you together or they can collide. Okay. Miss Megan actually sounds like she is an islander. I don't want to say specifically Jamaican. She's given Jamaican, Trinity or something. She sounds like an islander herself. Mm-hmm. She like, well, he got me with that because, you know, clearly she from the island. She got that culture. And he says that he loves women with culture. Cadian says that he hasn't really showed interest in anyone else. And, you know, he says that he likes who she is. They're doing well, but their communication could use some help. And in that same instance, she cuts him off. He's like, see, this is the shit I'm talking about. I can't get shit out. I can't finish nothing. She's like, nothing? You can't finish anything? No. So, you know, what happened?
No, I'm saying I don't know how you have a conversation with her.
So Miss Megan says basically this is who she is.
No,
the person that you see right now,
we've seen it with the females
is who you're getting. So he opens up the floor for her to speak because she was cutting him off any goddamn way. Right. And she explains that, you know, when they speak about the future, he shuts down. And, you know, he says, yeah, she's right. He does. And he says that he's afraid of giving his all and it not working out. He also said he does that because, you know, he can't take his words back. Katie says she sees that as rejection. Ms. Megan explains that there's some things that, you know, can destroy a relationship, and he has to let his guards down, some of his guards down, because he has a lot of them up. Yeah. So she told him that, you know, you're going to go home, you're going to process this, and she wants to hear from him. He says that he's learned a lot in this process. It's different when, you know, you're hearing things from your significant other versus hearing someone else say it. Mm-hmm. So clearly it's something he needs to work on. He appreciated the conversation with her and felt like, you know, they have a counselor in her. And he says that when someone tells him about himself, it's not, you know, like he's trying to be reserved, but he is a little bit slower when moving because he wants to be able to make good decisions. So Swayze does excuse himself. And Miss Megan says that, you know, she feels like he's a good guy and a great catch. They're both funny, but, you know, they need to figure out how to navigate this whole thing that they got going on. And Katie understands, you know, that basically she's stating that it's worth it, but it's going to take some work. So it's something they got to work at.
In Swayze's defense, and I don't know, but I would love to find out. So Swayze, if you just happen to watch by any means, please hop down in the comments. But I remember him saying in an earlier episode, he said that no one else had ever met his daughter. He had never introduced anyone else to his daughter that he's dated. The only woman that she's met is her mother. So I think that
she's 8.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it gives me the vibe that he probably was under the impression that it was going to work out with his child's mother. And when it didn't, because I think he did say she cheated, right? And I think I remember when he was talking to Kaylin in the boat when they went bowling.
I don't know what you're talking about. Black women don't cheat.
You're stupid. But okay, T.I. But anyway, so no, so I'm just saying that it makes sense now when I'm when I'm trying to put puzzle pieces together, it makes sense why he's so guarded, because I think he probably thought it was gonna work with his child's mom, and now that it didn't, he's scared of getting into something else and it not working like that, and then having children or just other things from it. So go ahead, Swayze. I ain't mad at you
for taking
your time.
Guess what, Swayze? It happens to the best of us. We have to pick up and move on or get therapy. Jay invited her mother, Christine, and her sister, Susan. Child, I don't know if this is a family full face makeup.
Jay came out with the legs and hips and body. Yes. Now,
yes,
she was wearing that red, and I was telling Nels I was so proud of her because I felt like this episode, outside of the confessional, she kind of dumbed the makeup down because I hear a lot of other people talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But her sister and her mama made up for it, so I couldn't even say that. But go ahead.
So she lets them know that she's invited Randall, and there's other ladies involved because he has other connections. And the mom says, as long as he's honest. So Randall shows up to a room full of women, 1, 2, 3, and came empty-handed. No flowers, no gifts, no nothing. Great first impression. It's giving DC.
So, did I tell
you that?
The Shade Squad, tell me what you think. Drop down in the comments. I've been getting a lot of feedback where a lot of people are feeling like Randall is showing up and like not even trying. Like his hair ain't cut, like his appearance, like just what he wears, like it's like he's not even trying. He's just showing up. And I guess because I'm not attracted to Randall, so I don't think I ever looked at those things. But maybe if I was, I probably would be like, what do you have on? So I just drop down in the comment, Shade Squad. Tell me what you think.
So he feels like after the trip, it exposed a lot of Jay's insecurities, and he's hoping that he can get a little insight after meeting with her family. So Susan, she says, what drew you to my sister?
What drew you to my sister?
To my sister. Randall says, she was the first one that walked in, and after that, we just clicked. It's giving, I just saw her first.
That's exactly what it was.
That's what it's giving. So if anybody else would have came in first, I don't know. You wouldn't have been able to get.
No, I was going to say, I couldn't have been. No nigga could tell me, oh, I just saw Chanel, and I'd be like, that's it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have moved past that so easily. So they talk about the incident that happened on the trip, and Susan says, if another woman is trying to step over my sister's shoes, my sister's toes,
you need to stop saying
you need to be able to curb her.
Stop saying my sister. That's what she needs to do.
My sister. Randall says, at the same time, she needs to allow me to talk to someone else because it's a two-way street. He says, she's up here, and he kind of moves like this, and she just needs to understand that she don't need to be in control of everything. Let me tell you something. Jamala is sitting back with the RBF, but her mom then pulls out a list that the daddy sent her with to ask all these questions to Randall. So the first question was, when things get hard in a relationship, how you gonna handle it? And he says communication has always been a problem for him, but it's easier for Jay, and it makes it easier for them to come back from situations. The next question is, can you protect and provide? He confidently answers and says, yeah, I don't think that'll be an issue. So they open the floor for him to ask questions about Jamala. And he says, how was she in her past relationships, and how does she deal with conflict? Her mom says, she loves hard, really expects the same in return. She says that, she likes him, and she looks forward to seeing where things go. So he excuses himself, gives hugs, although he didn't give no flowers. You wouldn't have got shit from me. High five, homie.
Look, I would have been like, it's nice meeting you.
From across the table, bye.
Bye.
So her mom says at face value, she can't see her heart, but he does seem pretty honest, and Jamala and her both agree that she deserves that. Her mom tells her, though, to take baby steps, because you could be married to somebody for 30 years and still don't know them. And like we told Trace, you could be married to a whole serial killer, whole rapist, and don't even know. We've seen it because we watched the ID channel.
I was going to say, I was just about to say, I watch enough ID channel to know.
Happy that, they came out, met Randall, and, they're catching a good vibe. It wouldn't have went the same had we been there, but moving right along on to Shareese and Sampson. Take it away, Shareese.
Stupid. Now Shareese is introducing Sampson to her daddy. I don't know his name. Godfrey. I didn't expect that name. Because
it be, you know what? No, let me say this. It be the dudes with the like oldest, craziest names that be the players, like for real. Knowing his name, I believe it when he said he was a player back in the day. I believe it.
It was given. Look, you say player, it was given borderline pimp, but okay. So, so she said that she's hoping introducing her dad, Godfrey, to Sampson will make him more, he'll be more open and vulnerable. So she tells her dad she wants him to be more serious. And, she talks about how her dad used to be a player, but now he's a husband. And Sampson walks in with gifts. But unfortunately, Shareese's mom apparently couldn't make it because she was ill. So Sampson says that he told Shareese early on that the connection with his father-in-law would be important to him because he didn't get that from the relationship with his own father. So he basically goes in and he's like, well, how many siblings do you have? And we learned that I think he said 3 older siblings or 3 siblings, but I felt like he said older.
I think he said 3 older and 1 younger.
Oh, I didn't catch the 1 younger. They asked where he went to school, and as we know, if you don't know, Sampson did go to Morehouse. Her father is pleased by this conversation, and he asked, what he likes about Reese, and he says that she has important family values. Now, Shareese is over here looking at him like, that really
you don't know me.
If you don't
know me by now.
You will never know me.
She like, nigga, you don't know me. You don't know me. You don't know that I'm funny. You don't know that I'm open. She ain't feeling it.
I was gonna say you could always you might see me in the streets, but shouting, you don't know me.
You don't know me.
Look, we'll switch it up for y'all. The jukebox goes many ways.
Normally, you the one that be coming with the ballads.
I know that's true. When you said it, I was like, oh, T.I. popped in my head. Anyway, so anyway, she's annoyed by this and felt like, he should have had a bit of a deeper answer. And she feels like, it's bullshit. So she's starting to get a little irritated. Her dad asked how he feels about having a woman who's like a go-getter and, out here getting her bag. Now, Sampson said he likes having a woman who has her own ambition and, kind of doesn't need him. And Shareese interrupts. And it's like, hold on. You know what? I've been meaning to clarify that shit. What do you keep saying this? What do you mean by that? She's like, because if we don't have a
relationship, we're gonna need
each other, then what are we in a relationship for?
Yeah, I think she was a little bit much with that. I don't know if she was not following along with the conversation, but he was talking about her being a go-getter.
But I get what her point was valid, just not in that moment.
Not in wrong timing.
Right.
Wrong timing.
Yeah.
Because it made it seem like she wasn't following along with the conversation. The daddy was talking about her being a go-getter. He's like, yeah, I always loved independent women. Women don't need me for shit. And that's why he was just like, I was just talking about you being
maybe that's why that rung alarm bells for Sampson. And he was kind of like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Because he's like, we were just complimenting you. And if you'll flip on your own dad, yo, okay, red flag. So
like Mike said, wasn't it Mike?
What?
He said, you ain't never had no kids, you ain't never been married, or was it Swayze? Somebody said something
Mike did say that. Mike,
you're a red flag to me. So
Shareese says basically Sampson is like, are you okay? Are you okay? Because
I love the way he did that.
Right.
He made her sound crazy as shit. Like, can we get her a jacket, please?
Right.
The one that hugged herself.
Getting upset with your dad. And Shareese is like, I'm not getting upset. This is a serious conversation, God damn it. So Sampson feels like she's mad because they're just getting along. And he's like, and that's weird. Shareese
also said, like, he was also like, dude, she's acting like they're like, she wants to ask something. I don't know why she just won't ask it. It was like she was waiting for the dad to say something. And he's like, if she got something she want to ask, why she don't just ask it?
That's true. Because Katie and damn sure did. So Shareese's dad says that he likes him. He gives good vibes. And Shareese asks if he's given the green light so far. He says, well, the yellow light is really flashing, you know, still flashing. And Sampson says, well, that applies to both of us. Then her father suggested that if they're going to go get married, just do it. So Shareese is shocked. And she was like, you would give me away so easily after asking.
I think you missed the part where the daddy, actually said that she's complicated.
Oh yeah, he did say that. He did say that.
He did. And I think that, look, fuck yellow flashing lights. To Sampson, that was like abort mission.
So now, yeah, Sampson is really worried. And, you know, the dad basically tells Shareese that, so Sampson gets up and leaves. They excuse him. And then she really wants to dig in to, you know, how did he feel about him? And basically the dad says that he knows, you know, men say things in front of parents just to, you know, kind of impress and whatever. And he
yes,
said,
ma'am, no, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then he said, and I've done that. And, you know, and minutes later, I've had their daughter behind the couch. So, you know, I know what it is. And he basically says that, you know, he talks a good game and he thinks that she should proceed with caution. However, he needs to walk it like he talk. Walk it like he talk. Walk it like he talk. Hey, walk it like he talk. Hey. Kayla was out here with 2 dates. 2 dates, y'all. She came.
That's because she doesn't have a solid connection.
She was giving, we messing with the same girl. No, it's not giving same girl. Okay. Anyway.
Well, nobody's messing with her, so.
I can't. It's giving, why are you, the Issa hate is real. Anyway. So.
No, I love Issa. I love Kayla too. I think she just needs to take a hint.
Oh God.
And self-eliminate.
So.
She's embarrassing herself at this point.
Well, no. So let's just talk about it, guys. And in my opinion, at this point, production has stepped in and tried to make her stay or told Mike, go chase after her behind the car, whatever.
Oh, this is what you think is going on?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for the sake of embarrassment.
Think about, even if, let's just be real, even if we think about our last review, everybody collectively agrees Kayla should have went home last week. But we know that didn't happen. And a part of me, even though technically the stronger connection was with Shanika, which makes me feel like that is kind of, because LJ's gone, it gives me more of production stepped in. And it's no longer what I want to do. That's just my opinion. But anyway, so just saying. Now, Kayla has Randall and Mike come to meet her parents because she feels she needs help making a decision because she has a connection with them both. So Randall shows up first and he said he's excited to see what they say and give him some insight about her. Now, her dad, and he seems really cool. I did not catch his name though. Nils.
Emmett.
Emmett. Okay, good job. So,
and the mom's name is Deborah. I don't know if you said it.
Okay, no, I didn't. So meets up with her parents, Emmett and Deborah. Now, they jump right into it and ask Randall what he's looking for. He said big-hearted people, someone really caring that can talk through things with him, but still speak their mind. That's what my notes say. That's what I got from what he said. But who says that you're going to trust, but you'll be able to talk through things when it gets hard. And I was just like, okay, Randall, you sound like you're rambling. That's what I got. So her father notices that, you know, when you talked about, you know, her and what you're looking for, you only mentioned one of her attributes and basically was that she spoke her mind. And he's like, so what's really going on with your connection? And so Randall's like, I'm really starting to feel like I'm in a pressure cooker. Like they're really laying it on hard. So Randall says he feels like they're very similar. And a lot of the times when Kayla talks, he listens to try to understand how she's really feeling. So then Dad's like, all right, let's just cut the shit. So are you talking to anybody else? And he's like, yes, I am. You know, at one point, I had 3 connections, but now it's 2. And her mom was like, oh, aren't you lucky? Aren't you a lucky man? I was like, yeah, you probably could have left that out, bro. So dad basically was like, so what are you going to do? And then he's like, are you a trustworthy person? And then when he asked him that, Randall, and you probably have the exact response, but Randall responds to the question using the word trust, and her dad calls him out for it.
I think he said something along the line, you can't define trust using the word trust or something like that.
That was it. Good job, Nels. So they asked if he's ready to love, and he says yes. He says that love to him is like home with his grandparents. And then we learned that he was raised by his grandparents. Her mother asked about his relationship with his father, and he says that his dad was cool, but there sparingly. Emmett is actually thinks that it was pretty dope that even though his father kind of wasn't there, he still spoke, highly of him and didn't take the, chance to be like, oh, I have a deadbeat dad, whatever. So he respected him for that. So I think that's the only thing that got Randall points, honestly.
I feel like they was really feeling Randall.
You said you think they were or they weren't? No, I don't think they were feeling Randall at all. So then they okay, did that. Her dad, yeah, that okay. So then Randall says the Q&A was tough, but leaving the process, everything is still in the same place, and he's still confused and not really sure where Kayla stands in between him and Jamala, which I was like, that's stupid. And again, which makes me think production is telling them like you can't decide yet or something. You can't say who your choice is yet, because this is getting stupid. We all know what it is. Like, this is, at this point, we should be seeing their connections grow and be deeper than they are. And the fact that we're still out here acting like we're entertaining, I get it. It's a game show. I get it. It's a game show. But.
So then Mike has his date with the parents, and he says in the confessional, despite the connection he has with Brandy, he is still interested in Kayla. And first thing that popped into my head was the lies.
Well, he might be interested in Kayla, but I don't think it's for a relationship.
You said what? What do you?
He might be.
You said what now?
I say he might be interested in Kayla, but it's not for a relationship.
You don't go meet her parents, then. I mean, whatever.
We're in Miami.
So, huh?
We're in Miami.
But because of this, he wants to watch what he says to the parents. So her mom asked if he was nervous coming in, and he says no, because Kayla speaks very highly of them. She was like, well, okay, well, we got a short time to learn about you.
Right.
Kayla's dad asked him if he has any daughters, and he says, yes, I have 2 daughters and a son. And he says, if you were sitting in my position, what would be the things you're looking for? Mike says he was just looking in his eyes and seeing how serious his intentions are with his daughters. He said, okay, well, go on and answer your own first question. He says his intention is to get to know Kayla. And, he's trying to see where she's at. Her mom says, Kayla, when she takes an interest in you, you got to take that serious. Okay. Because if she going to bring you into our family, look, Mike is like, well, he don't mind coming in. Now, last clip, sir, you better watch it. Because like Brandy said, she would cook that ass. Okay. You don't be talking about going to nobody else's family, sir.
I can't, like I said, some of these things, I can't wait to the reunion after they.
You didn't even show up with no flowers or no gifts for Kayla's family. So clearly it ain't as serious as Brandy. So you better cut the shit. You don't want to lose a dime chasing the nickel. Cut it out. They want his take on their connection. Emmett says, in other words, what you gonna do, player? And he says, the process is still going on.
Right.
And says, him and Kayla's connection wasn't as strong as it is now. And, she jumped to like an 8. The lies. Emmett asked.
Lies.
The lies. Emmett asked, if you could change one thing about Kayla, what would it be? He says, you know, they communicated so much that there's nothing that he would change. Daddy like, hold up, that's some strong words now. Her mom asked, well, if he could change anything about his other connection, what would it be? I said, go on, mama. That was a good question. And he says, you know, it's just that she needs a little bit more reassurance. And she was like, you know what, I'm gonna send you home with something to think about, okay? You need to think about if that's even what you want in your life, someone that needs it. This gave Kayla a little bit of hope that, you know, he would choose her in the end. But you're not making it to the end, but more power to you. Emmett asks, you know, what quality is most important to him? He says the number one quality for him is how she treats her man. Daddy said, that ain't a quality, boo. That's a characteristic. Michael's like, well, technicalities. He's like, okay, you got me. And he's like, but you know what? I got to go. So, yeah, I enjoyed my time here, and y'all have a great night.
Time limit, and I got to be out.
Right. So, you know, she's talking to her family. She wants to know who they like more. And her dad says that in terms of self-confidence, Mike is short and Randall is not. But he feels like Randall knows what he wants and Mike is more hesitant. Kayla says that, you know, she's still confused and in a tight spot after speaking with her parents because ultimately the decision is up to her.
Kaden and Swayze then went down to the bar. They said to the bar, they said they was gonna have them a drink. And they was, you know, meeting after he met the godmother. So she says she knows that they need to work on their communication and wants to talk about expectation and boundaries in their relationship. She realizes it's their first real date. Nobody's on the chopping block, you know, ain't no group, ain't other people with them. It's their first like real one-on-one date. They're intimate. Now, Swayze said he's looking forward to having a good time and he hopes and feels that it should be a little less stressful. Swayze, you're with Mother May I don't know why you thought that. So she asked how She asked how he felt about Miss Megan. He said he liked her and thought she was good at giving advice. He asked what her thoughts were of him, and Katie kind of hesitates. And then she says that she liked him, but realizes that they really need to find a way to get through their communication hurdle. So she feels, now this is the one thing that I did like, and I think that I always say, she feels they need to get on the same page of where they would like to be. She says it's their book, and basically they need to know what their goals are. Swayze said that he's upset because he feels they both are saying the same things at times, and it's the way Katie kind of presents them. So she's then trying to like gauge him or ask him. This became confusing for me, so bear with me, Shade Squad. So she then asked him something about like what he sees as romantic or what he likes, and he really is like not trying to answer her question. So she asked him again, like
trying to draw it out of him.
She really was like, and I'm gonna, Mother May I'm gonna clearly, she has done this. She has pulled. Mm-hmm. And so I applaud her for that, because you wouldn't have got that out of me. I would have hit a Shareese. All right, I guess it's time for you to go. Mm-hmm. But Katie tried to pull it out of him, and she was like, well, what would you want someone to do for you? And he's like, I don't know, get me a card. Like, I'm just not that type of guy. Like, you can just tell, like, I'm sorry, it's giving Swayze right now, you're giving Sampson. Y'all like in the same boat. Like, what's going on? I don't understand. So Swayze basically is starting to get like, you know, a little irritated with her. And she feels like he just doesn't want to answer a hard question. And then, you know, Katie and it says she's just confused as to how he feels about her. She brings up how when he told her she would be the second woman to meet his daughter, she felt, you know, good about that because she felt like it was him projecting a future for them. And he basically is just like, I hope you didn't think that, because that's not what I was saying. I was just talking. That's not what I don't get your hopes up.
I think when he was saying it was more like, if you were to meet my daughter, you'd be the second person.
No, I understand what I'm saying. Okay, so Shade Squad, I was embellishing a little bit. But the point is that she is looking at this like, oh yeah, we have a future, and she really likes that. And I think that he could have still went with that and be like, yeah, if this continues to go further, I would love for you to meet my daughter. Instead, he's like, I think you moving too fast. Wrong road, wrong road. So I was like, damn, Swayze, especially for this to be your only connection. So we'll see. Now, she brings up, oh no, so Swayze is confused, and she says that if I said so at the end of this process, let's have sex, would it be too early for that? And Swayze's like, it's never too early for sex. And she's like, oh, so it's too early for certain conversations. I said, well,
but not for sex. Yeah, that was the wrong answer, sir.
You just talked yourself out of some pussy. Now, Swayze is actually upset at this point, because he feels like he doesn't want a woman that's insecure,
or argumentative.
But Swayze, you knew who this was.
She said she feels like he's discrediting some things between them, and he's like, no, he's not discrediting anything, and he's sorry that he took her away from her other connections. She's like, oh, okay, you trying to get me started up. And he was like, oh, what? No, I was just being apologetic. That would have, And I know she was like, okay. She kind of left that alone. I would have been stuck on that, but you know what? Mother May gone.
Maybe not as bad as we thought she was. I mean, she
was showing real.
Yeah, she was giving him grace.
But it seems like it's for certain people.
Right.
And this is her love interest. So of course, you're gonna give him a little grace. So she's like, she asked him, can he handle her? Her mood swings and her attitude. And he says that's really what we need to focus on before we start talking about taking this next big step. And in the confessional, she says, she's processing and trying to figure it out because he needs to be babied. She's like, I basically got to coddle his ass and put him on my shoulder and rock him like a little baby because, in his mind, and this is what he needs. And in my mind, it's done. He asked her, why are you scared of me? And she's like, because I knew you was trouble when I met your ass, and look what the hell you put me through now. So the ladies show up for their final wine bar. And Nephew Tommy wants to get right to it. He wants to know how it was with the families all up in their business.
All up in their love business.
Brandy says Mike met her parents. And, she says that they asked questions that, needed to be asked. And her daddy even asked if he does drugs. She says Mike gave great answers, but throughout this process, Mike has dated every woman here, which I was not aware of. I wasn't.
I mean, it is a process. Can't hold it against him.
And she says that it was hard for her, but he also told her that Kayla's parents asked him, if he could change anything about Kayla, what would he change? And he said nothing. And if he could change anything about Brandy, what would it be? And, he said her reassurance. So Nephew Tommy asked if she feels confident with Mike about the process after the journey. Brandy says, he's expressed that this is what he wants as well, and it's real. Kayla, of course, gotta intervene and got to say something. She says they spent a lot of time together in this process and feels that, she spent more time with him than anyone else. Brandy actually agrees, but Daddy's still not choosing you. But moving on. And, she says that, she respects whatever Brandy feels, but he tells her things as well. Kayla says that both of her parents, mom and dad, met with Mike and Randall. And she says that her parents are very direct, and Randall wasn't even fully in his seat before, the questions got fired.
They was lighting him up.
Basically. And, she says with Mike, it was
barbecue. There was barbecue in his ass.
Lord, here we go. And she says with Mike, it was completely different. They was coming to him the same, but basically, he handled it different. Like he got this. He was doing the little Kim, dodging that shit, right? But she does say that they liked both of them. So Jay says that her mom and sister were very receptive of Randall. But told her, just take it slow. Kadian says that her godmom met with Swayze and she likes him as well. But she felt like the negatives were, his patience and his lack of communication. He needs some work. She also says that the negative was, they have the same end goal, but they have to work on their miles per hour. I guess, to get them there. Nephew Tommy tells her that, he thinks that she's further than he is. And if he don't catch up in time, the time that she's allowed, basically he out. And she basically explains.
I know the feeling, Katie, and I know the feeling, girl.
You's a fool.
Girl,
and she basically explains that, she wants a plan. She wants to know when that shift is going to happen. Nephew Tommy says, let's sit down, put together a plan and figure it out. And move forward with one another if you see fit, basically. Shareese says Sampson met with her dad and, he got him with all his qualifications. And her dad told her to make sure that he's not hiding anything and to be cautious. Nephew Tommy asked her, what do you think Sampson is not showing you? And she says, the attention that I need. Now, this was given the other homeboy that you liked last season. Was it last season or season before last?
What happened?
That was given the boy that, because you know how to pick them, girl. Who was the one that got sent home at the very end because he wasn't showing no tension?
Walter.
Yeah, it's giving that. It's giving you. Yeah. You know what? We're gonna leave it alone. And he says the big question is, do you see a future with Sampson? She says she's torn, and she says her gut is telling her that she deserves someone who loves her for her. She actually gets teary-eyed, and all the ladies, they're consoling her and tell her that she does love someone. She does need someone who deserves someone who loves her for her.
Exactly.
Brandy says, you know what? I'm not gonna bring up the whole gift thing again. What happened?
I said Brandy dropped the bomb, y'all.
How about to say it's kind of breaking up? I don't know what you said. So Brandy says that, she ain't gonna bring up the whole gift thing again, but he just gives the vibe like he feels the same way about everybody. And Shareese brings up how they were all at the lunch with the ex, Looney, her, Brandy, and Brandy, and meeting the ex. And basically he was like, well, I don't know what they're doing here. Like, like
why are they here?
They're just magically here. Brandy says she actually received a text from him saying that she was going to be the only one beating his ex and that he didn't want any other woman in the process. And it's always been her. If you could have saw Shareese's face, she was floored. Nephew Tommy says, this is where it gets good.
It's good.
And Katie says, he is full of shit. Katie says that he actually called her on the phone and says he didn't want her to leave. And there's definitely something between them two.
Sampson.
Shareese says this is hard to hear because this is her main connection. And Nephew Tommy tells her to write down all the good qualities and all the ones that are not so good. And, if he's willing to open up and, make some changes, then, you can decide whether to take the next step or not. And he tells her to take the time and decide if he's ready to love. So Sampson is the only one in the bottom. And do I believe he's going home? Yes, the fuck I do.
And we all know if Sampson's going home, Shareese is right behind him. It's a 2-for-1. It's a 2-for-1 deal. Nels purposely did this. I was wondering why she jumped in so quick on the last scene, and she definitely set me up. That bitch set me up. So I think that I've already made my disclaimer last review, but I'm going to go ahead and take accountability again. Sampson, you cool?
Oh, you can, but he can't.
Look,
That's what Shareese was looking for. She was looking for accountability.
Sampson,
Maybe
you cool, but I can no longer co-sign for you, bro. I can no longer co-sign for you. Okay. The credit is bad. I cannot, the payments are not on time. I cannot co-sign for you anymore. Okay. So y'all, Shareese invites Sampson out to talk to him, hoping that he's coming with something different. He's acknowledging his missteps and he's going to take some accountability, as Nell said. Now, Sampson says, by the way Shareese is looking at him, he knows something is coming. She's giving him the gas face. Sampson says that he feels like he may be told he's not ready to love after their meeting at the wine bar because he knows that it happened. However, he feels that the meeting with her dad might be able to save him. Now, she talks about how Brandy brought up the fact that he said she was the only one for him, okay? And then brought up how he reached out to Katie and expressing his interest as well. And I was like, well. So he says he needs to be clearer about expressing his interest. And, you know, Shareese questions, well, are you, do you even like me? Like, are you? And he says in his confessional that he doesn't like Shareese questioning him and his character and feels it should be the other way around. He said something about his foot didn't go in anyone's mouth.
He was saying like he didn't put his own foot in his mouth is what I'm thinking he was trying to say.
Oh, okay. One of the bad dad analogy jokes. Okay. She tells him she got the impression he really wasn't feeling her. And he tells her when he's in the lounge with the guys, he doesn't really, you know, listen to what they say, because if he did, she would be gone. He brings up how Zoe called her fake, how Mike had an issue with her calling his kids baggage, and brings up that even your dad said you were a little bit difficult. So Shareese is obviously hurt by this and disbelief. And she's like, I realized that the reason he couldn't be intimate with me is because this motherfucker just don't like me.
Period.
So she tells Sampson he attacked her and asked, you know, do you even care how that makes me feel? Sampson says the difference between them, he didn't answer the question, and then says that the difference between them is that he doesn't listen to the chatter. And she says it's not chatter, it's people's feelings. Now, here's where I'm gonna say that Sampson, even if you didn't like her, because I knew this, I saw this from the beginning, we said it, you can go back to the beginning when we started these reviews, we said this was not gonna work. However, I feel like you did yourself a disservice in this moment. One, because you were, at least from people that, you know, reviews that I've listened to and whatever, and just even amongst us, you were super, super well respected. And we understand edited and, you know, how shit comes out on TV and whatever. But even in reference to your career being a life coach, if I were looking or seeking a life coach, and then after seeing this on television, I wouldn't be looking to you.
Well,
and I'm saying that like you love us because we keep it real, so I'm gonna keep it 100% all the way real. So anyway, but yeah, so no, then yeah, Sampson says that, you know, he's not really here to talk about the ladies and wants to talk about them. And Shareese is like, there is no them, us, we, they. It's not us. That's not what we're doing. You're not ready to love, motherfucker. And, you know, Sampson's like, well, why did you waste all of our time? This is a waste of our time. And she's like, what about my time? And then she talks about how he's a 50-year-old man who acts like a child. She said that she doesn't have time to be frustrated or irritated. Sampson lets her know she's not ready to love either because she's given up all this and no one has ever called him fake. Sampson said he's okay with the decision and he feels that he dodged a bullet. He continues to eat his steak. And then it's like, why are you still here? Sampson is what I'm talking about. You did yourself a disservice. That wasn't needed.
She was like, I'm gonna leave when I'm good and goddamn ready.
Right. Yeah, the cattiness and that, leave that to the women to do that. You don't do that. You don't do that. That's not becoming. Yeah. So she finally does get up and walk off, and Sampson talks about how good his steak is. And like I said, Shade Squad, I will sit in my okay. And for Shareese, she said, I'm FREE, nigga free, ain't gotta worry about kissing fucking with me. Hey! Thank you guys so much. And Sampson, you know we love you.
Yes,
We
thank you.
gotta keep it real. They did not paint you in a good light, but if you would like to come tell your side, you know you are always more than welcome over here at Shade in the City. If you haven't already, please make sure that you hit that like button.
You comment.
You subscribe.
And hit the notification bell.
And please make sure that you are following us on all platforms, which I see you guys are. We're growing, we're growing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love it. And yes, let's keep building our shady community. And we will catch y'all for the finale. I thought we were going to have like 2 more episodes, but they are cutting.
It looks like the episode is the finale.
Done next week. I'm interested to see how they are going to close the season out. You guys have a great evening. Bye.
Good night.